Hi again. This is the third of 3 sessions. Again, I'm at St. Mary's College in South Bend, and I'm basically explaining how you can take $10 a day and turn it into $1 million over a lifetime of savings. The first step is decide it's your money and don't be spending it on stuff that other people want you to spend it on. Money is power. You have to understand that. And once you understand that money is power, then it's beginning to accumulate money or whatever is a very easy thing to do. You just have to do the desire, discipline, and dedication. We're going to talk about that here in just a couple minutes. My name is Mark Bradford. I've been I get awards for teaching. Part of what I like to do is I really like to help students. I like to help young people. You guys are bombarded every single day with people who want your money. And so it's very confusing. And it's okay to buy stuff. Don't ever let me say it's a bad idea to buy stuff. But you got to be able to afford it. And to be able to afford it is simply a habit. So we're going to talk about the $10 millionaire again. In this session, I'm going to break down some of the confusing stuff that the investment community throws at you. I'm going to tell you what some of your different options are. And, so it'll be, so that's what this is going to be about. You have to have these 3 things: desire, dedication, and discipline. If you don't have them, well, I don't know what to tell you. Can't help you. Don't want to help you. Because every dollar you spend might end up in my pocket. So why would I tell you not to spend money? So what are the basics? How do I get started? Again, $10 a day. I've showed you how if you invest in the stock market, that will get you your $1 million if the stock market continues to pay the way it has. And I have faith in the American capitalist system that it will. Okay? With the money, you now have the power to make decisions. Without the money, you don't have power. Okay? So money, like I showed on that first session, somehow becomes power. So I'm going to outline 5 things. One is explain to you what the difference is between a traditional stockbroker, because you're going to be buying stocks. When you buy stocks, you're buying pieces of a company. Stockbroker versus an online broker. I'll kind of tell you how that works. Then I'm going to talk about the difference between buying a single stock and a mutual fund, or I'm skipping over the exchange-traded funds. Number 3 is what's a 401k and why does everybody love them? Number 4 is what would be a standard investment in a 401k or mutual fund versus an IRA and why you'd want to use maybe those tools. If you do choose to use an IRA, do you want to go into a traditional or a Roth IRA? So I'm going to give you some very beginning level approaches but these are the first things. Once you start accumulating money, these are the first things they're going to ask you. You're going to go to your broker and you go, oh, you want an IRA or not? I think I'll take an IRA. Well, you want a traditional or you want a Roth? I don't know. Okay, well, I'm going to give you the power to know. Okay, traditional, because quite honestly, that's how I was 10 years ago when I went to my stockbroker, 20 years ago, whenever it was. So let's go on. Traditional broker versus online broker. Online brokers weren't even around until about 15, 20 years ago. Now you can go online, you create your own account, transfer money in, transfer money out. You don't even have to talk to a real human being. Works great for me because I hate human beings and I don't like talking to them. So this works great. So I use an online broker. Trading fees are $9 or $10 every trade. I don't trade much. I'm a buy and hold kind of guy now because I've gotten old, or I've also lost my rear end when I trade sometimes. They don't give you any advice, but there's a whole boatload of advice out there on different websites, and you can find it. And it's like anything else, something that you're really interested in, you can really dig in deep. But you'll very rarely talk to a broker face to face. A traditional broker is what your grandmother uses, and what my mom uses. She has a guy named Jack or Joe or Jim or Jake or Lucy or Janet or whoever. And she goes in and she says, well, what should I be investing in? The traditional broker will tell her, well, you ought to be investing in oil now. You ought to be investing in this. You ought to be investing in that. And then my mom listens to them. She pays a higher fee per trade they get paid because they are providing the service of lots of face-to-face advice, and they provide the research. If you are confused at all by a stock market, you don't want to get involved in trying to figure out who's good and who's not good, traditional brokers are the way to go. If you're like me and you're a bit of a cowboy, online broker is the way to do it. So that's first thing, you got to make a decision. Do I want to do it myself? Do I want help? You're going to pay for the help, but it's not a bad idea. Single stock versus mutual fund. When you are buying stock, you are buying a piece of a company. Like I own Apple right now. I'm not telling you to go buy Apple. I own Apple, okay? And so I've got, let's say, $2,000 invested in Apple, just pick a number. If Apple comes out with a really crappy product and the whole thing blows up on them, that thing goes to zero, I lose all of my investment. So a single stock is a very high risk and potentially total loss. I've lost all my money on investments before, on individual stocks. So it's real, it happens. However, if Apple comes out with the next big thing and their stock goes up, then I'm just sitting there twiddling my thumb while my value of stock goes up in that individual stock. So you're buying a piece of a company. There's literally tens of thousands of stocks out there. So you get to pick and choose. What I have chosen to do in my one part of my investment account is I've got maybe 30 different stocks that I own. It's called a portfolio. So not all of my money is in Apple. Some of it's in a variety of other stocks, that companies that I own, that I've in theory done research on. Okay, that's okay. So I've created my own portfolio. And every time I make a trade, I pay $9 because I'm an online stock guy. What some people do is they go to what's called a mutual fund. Now imagine this room that we see here full up of people who graduated from Yale, graduated from Harvard, graduated from Notre Dame, graduated from St. Mary's, all the great colleges and universities. They're all sitting in a big room, and they're having an argument over which stocks they should be buying because they are in charge of a mutual fund. And what happens is, again, that door pops open and in walks $200,000, which is people's contribution to the mutual fund. That money comes in, they're going, I think we ought to buy more Apple. I think we ought to buy more IBM. I think we ought to buy Ford Motor. I think we ought to sell this. I think we ought to do that. Big arguments between all these people. This is all done in downtown New York or some other places. And that's what a mutual fund is. You're paying people to argue over what to do with your money. They're all very financial types, and hopefully they make a good decision. They average between 8 to 10 to 12%, depending on the mutual fund. They are human beings. Not all mutual funds are the same. Some are managed by idiots, some are managed by smart people. So when you're choosing a mutual fund, there'll be a whole lot of research done on a mutual fund that you can read, and you put the money in. The best part about a mutual fund is they'll own up to 200 stocks or more, or less, depending on what they want to do. And so your risk is spread out. It's nearly impossible to lose all your money in a mutual fund. At the same time, you're not going to make a gazillion dollars like people have with Apple. So you're giving up the right to make the gazillion dollars, but you're just trotting along. And if you remember, what I told you to do was to invest in a mutual fund. Very safe, average returns of 8 to 10%. It works great. Managed by a dedicated group of managers. They are. Okay, but here's the best one, and here's the one that confuses people your age. What is a 401k, and why do they call it that? I don't know why they call it that. I think they just want to confuse the crap out of you. That's why. So instead of calling it an employer-sponsored mutual fund, they call it a 401k. But here's the deal. It's so cool. In my example, the employer will match up to 3% of your contribution. In my example, you're making $52,000 a year. Just that makes it easy to do the calculations, okay? So you're making $1,000 a week. So the employer's going to match up to 3%. So you have to put in 3%. The employer puts in 3%. It's free money. Hit it, free money. Hit it, Free money. How many times did I say that? Free money. It's free money. That's why people like 401k so much. All of a sudden, instead of putting in $30, you've put in $60 because the employer's matching it. So your 30 plus their 30 equals 60. How much did I say you need each week to make $1 million? 70. So you're only $10 short. Aha! Millionaire puts in 40. Lets the employer put in 30, and away you go. You can spend your money on whatever you want to spend it on, secure in the fact that you've done your $1 million thing. See how much freedom you have? It's unbelievable. So cool. You've paid yourself first. Quite honestly, you don't even see the money. It's in a paycheck. It comes out of your paycheck. You don't even see it. It's gone. It's there. It's being invested by those guys sitting in this room. It normally goes in a mutual fund, and most people will say, and I don't know why all people don't say, but most people will say, always take a 401k if it's offered to you by your employer. Always, always, always. They match it. It's free money. There's your $70. You got your $1 million thing all taken care of. Go buy a house. Standard mutual fund or an IRA. Here's where the questions start getting like a little hairy. If you put your money in an IRA, you can't get it back out without a fight. When you put your money into an individual retirement account, you are saying to whoever you're investing it with, I need this money for a long time, matter of fact, until I retire. So here, take it. I'm just going to put $70 every single week into an individual retirement account. It's just a mutual fund. The only rule is, guess what? You can't get it back unless you pay penalties, you know, that kind of thing. So that's an IRA. But that's not good enough. There are two kinds of IRAs. There's a traditional IRA, which is one I started in, where before I put the money in, I threw the money in, and then at the end of the year, I got a $2,000 tax credit. I don't know, that probably doesn't mean a lot to you guys, but I'm paying taxes on $2,000 less. That adds up. Like it adds up to almost $600, $700 I saved. Yeah, baby. That's what a traditional IRA does. You get a tax cut now, but guess what? When you pull that money out, that's when they tax you. So you're avoiding tax now, you're paying it later. A Roth IRA, you don't get the tax break now, but there's no taxes when you pull it out. As soon as we could, we switched all of our money to Roth IRAs because we didn't need the money. Why didn't we need the money? Because we're good money managers. That's why. We knew exactly what we were doing. So we have most of our money going into Roth IRAs right now. Now, that's it. It starts here, right here. It starts with you wanting power over your future. It starts with you deciding you don't need to eat that pizza. You don't need to buy that car. You don't need to do that stuff. Instead, you're going to be investing for your future. It's not about money, folks. It's about a lifestyle. It's about being able to get up in the morning and say, I don't really have to go to work today, but I'm going to because I like my work. It's about saying to your kids, yeah, so you screwed up. Here's a couple $1,000 to dig you out of a hole. It's about being able to, it's this unbelievable feeling of freedom. Yeah, they tempt you with this. But if you look at this, folks, it's all fake. People who chase money down eventually find out the money doesn't love them back either. What you're doing with your $1,000,000 is you're buying yourself peace. And that's worth more than $1,000,000 anytime. Thank you very much. Now go get it.